Hi, here in today's video we are going to discuss about OWASP top 10. First I'm going to the Google and searching for OWASP Docker top 10. Once you search you can see here there is a OWASP Docker top 10 link. Just open in new tab. Basically OWASP is a open web application security project. It is kind of a centralized like body where many organizations follow this, and it is a non like government organization. Okay, and if you see here uh, regarding the web's top 10 for Docker, there is some information, but in the website they haven't given directly the web's top 10 list. They provided here the GitHub link. You just need to open that GitHub link, and here you can see the folder, sorry, the repository naming Docker security. It is a OWASP official page. Okay, so here you can see the Docker security, and here this is the like OWASP top 10 explanation. Okay, and here in dist folder there is a PDF OWASP Docker security. Just click on that PDF. Here you can see the OWASP top 10 for Docker. I think it was lastly updated 2021 or 2019, I believe, 5 years ago. And yeah, this was the like OWASP top 10 for Docker: secure user mapping, patch management strategy, network segmentation and firewalling, secure defaults and hardening, maintain security contexts, protect secrets, resource protection, container image integrity and origin, follow immutable paradigm, logging. Okay, so if you come here, there is a side heading stating that I mean, this is kind of a readme file for each and every like OWASP top 10. There is a readme file. Okay, so here there is a explanation like what is the, let's say if you consider uh, top one Docker OWASP. Okay, that was secure user mapping. In that, what will be the threat scenario, and here how to prevent that. Okay, and some how can I find that, and also some references they have given. If you wanted to really learn or interested, then definitely I will suggest to go through to this official page and uh, have a like hands-on and understanding of this. Okay, and now what I did was I prepared a kind of chart where it showcases the like what is the OWASP top 10. Here if you see here there is a all top 10 listed. Okay, and in the simple meaning, like without much jargons. Why? Because we are just understanding first of all. Okay, and it is something new for me also, and maybe some for you also. And there is some example like what exactly and how to do that particular thing. Okay, it is a kind of simple explanation, it is a kind of simple example. Okay, and yeah, without further ado, let's enter into the video and discuss about this. I will get you some small pen, e-pen for you, and I will pick up a green color. And yeah, if you see here, first one was secure user mapping. That means whenever we are writing a Docker file, we need to make sure the user need to be securely mapped. By that it won't get privileges or access to the host system of the Docker. Okay, so it is a simple meaning for this. Don't let the containers run as a main, that means admin user. We need to prevent this. Okay, we no need to run the user as a admin to perform the task. That is the uh, one thing. Okay, and if you see the example, create a normal user inside the container and run the apps as a that normal user. Okay, so this normal user will terminate, I mean will don't use the root user permissions, right? So this is the best practice. Okay, and moving to the next question, it was sorry moving to the next top second, which is patch management. We need to keep everything updated. That means, let's say if we are using some libraries or else some base images in the Docker file, we need to make sure we are using updated one, patched one. In some images, uh, there might be some malicious code or some misconfigurations is there. Okay, so you need to look for official page of what exactly the source of the image you are getting. That is the one thing. And also we need to look for like how much rating and how popular is that in the market, and is it a trusted one or not, signature, everything you need to check. That is the one. Okay, and if you see the example, we need to update the uh, Docker first of all, and the OS, like whatever the images we are using. And where, I mean, let's say if in the image there is a new fixes need is released, we need to make sure that will be updated. Okay, and moving to the next question. Sorry, I'm getting question only. It is a point. Network segmentation and firewalling. Okay, top three was Docker, network segmentation, and firewalling. Here, what exactly network segmentation and firewalling means? We need to separate a containers into its own network and control who can talk to whom. Okay, it is basically maintaining a kind of communication among the team. Okay, or among the containers, what service need to or talk with what, and what is the like communication bridge. Okay, there will be a network bridges, so we need to make sure that are separated and isolated. Let's say if we are running front end and back end and database in the same container, sorry, same network bridge, then obviously they can talk to each other. Okay, so let's say if ideally it should not happen like that, but in our case it's happened, means that is it's our some not following best practice. Okay, so we need to make sure to follow. Here if you see the example, use a Docker network and a firewall to block the unwanted connections. So like whatever I said, front end, back end, and database example, you can just consider the same example here also. We can set up a networks, like different isolated networks for each and every uh, container for back end, front end, and database. Okay, and by that they are not able to communicate each other. Whenever the network bridges them, then they are able to communicate each other. Okay, and the next point was D4, which is OWASP top 4, secure defaults hardening. Okay, here basically the simple meaning for this was turn off what you don't need. Okay, so using unnecessarily is kind of exposing yourself to the outside world. This is my attack surface, like that. Okay, so if you see the example, disable the unused ports. Let's say if you are not using certain ports, you need to disable obviously, and whatever the features you are not using, and permissions in the container. That, let's say if the in the container level you need only a read permission, but you give read and runtime runtime execution permissions or runtime modify permissions. That is a kind of security breach, right? So that is one thing we need to do. And coming to the fifth one, which is maintain security context, which means we need to keep a different work environment separate, as I said here example regarding front end, back end, and database, like that. Okay, so uh, we need to make sure a separate a setups. Yeah, it is come with the environment. it will come with the like application, okay, application layer, and it will come in the overall environment like dev, testing, and production. uh, Whenever we make certain isolations for them, that will make some security context is following, and obviously that will don't mix up each other, okay. And coming to the sixth point, which is protect secrets. Here we need to make sure keep our passwords and keys whatever we are using need to be securely stored, okay. We can use some secret managers like vaults, AWS secret manager. Instead of storing the passwords and keys inside the code or image, uh, it is better to store in this kind of third party vaults or some cloud vaults, okay. That will be a good practice, okay. And coming to the seventh one, which is resource protection. Basically, resource protection is to safeguard ourselves for DDoS attack, we can say, okay. We need to make sure to stop one container from using too much CPU and memory or disk, that means RAM, storage, okay. So memory in the sense RAM, okay. And what exactly this point makes sure, aligns was, let's say if one container using a lot of like memory and disk and CPU like that, so it will obviously affect the performance of the other containers also, okay. So let's say whenever some attacker tries to uh, make sure it was unavailable in the internet, that means denial of services, okay. So DDoS attack will be performed, may perform, okay, right. In that case, if we limit the resources, then there is no much chance to uh, perform the DDoS attack, okay. If we perform also, then there will be a limit till if that limit reaches, then it cannot exceed that limit, right. And here if you see the example, set a limits in Docker, so each container gets only what it needs, okay. So whatever the like memory allocation or CPU and storage allocation is there, whatever we are assigning, that only will get, okay. And coming to the eighth point, it is image integrity and origin. Whenever we are using, in simple meaning, whenever we are using images, like especially base images in the Docker file, we need to make sure use a safe and trusted images only, okay. And we need to make sure to pull images from official sources and scan them for issues before in use, like using some third party tools like snake container scan, Travi image scan, like that tools, okay. So that is the point here. And coming to the ninth point, which is follow immutable paradigm, which is basically we need to restrict the container or Docker file, whatever it is there, especially the container. Don't change the running containers, okay. And we need to run in such a way, okay, by giving some arguments in the comments. In the upcoming videos, I will definitely show some practical on this particular pointers. By that, it will be more understandable, okay, instead of a theory part. And coming to the example, if you need to update or rebuild the image and redeploy instead, okay. Let's say if instead of mutable, following the mutable paradigm, we need to rebuild and redeploy uh, the image and container. That is the best practice, okay. For your practice purpose, whenever you are practicing, you can set up kind of mutable paradigm, okay. That means whenever the container is up and running, let's say if you make any changes in your code base, it will automatically reflect. Okay, that means you will mount your volumes. Okay, I mean after port exposure like hyphen p, uh, let's say 5000 colon 5000, and after that volume will be mounted like hyphen v, and whatever the your local, that means the docker host uh, uh, like code is there, that path you need to give, and like where exactly the inside container, like working environment, inside the app, and inside that there is a flask app, like that you need to give the same. Okay, so for your whenever you are practicing you can give the same, but in the real time it's not suggested to give the same. Okay, so instead of I mean, let's say if you wanted to update, then you need to rebuild the image and redeploy uh, that into a Docker registry. Okay, and yeah, and moving to the last point, which is Docker top 10, which is logging. Okay, it is basically keep track of what's happening. Okay, logging and monitoring, you may see Prometheus and Grafana tools, right? So if you see the example, collect and store the logs from containers, so you can check the problem later. Okay, it is log aggregation, and kind of monitoring dashboard will be helpful whenever we hit some troubleshooting scenarios. So at the time this log aggregation and monitoring is very much important to solve that. Okay, so make sure to implement that also as a WAPS top 10. These are some security best practices. Okay, let's say if you don't follow this or this, like whatever the things mentioned here, then obviously you are in a risk. Okay, and especially in the organization which are in a financial sector or some bank, like especially I think WAPs will be followed in financial sector and telecom sector. Okay, so they definitely rely on this WAPs top 10, and the customers also looks for, we need to fit, and we need to uh, stand against WAPs top 10. Okay, so for this these are the things we non no need I mean not supposed to follow. Okay, so by that we can avoid the Docker WAPs top 10 in our container images. I mean, and also one more thing, there are I mean this different WAPs for Docker, right? So these are like attack vector was different. Basically attack vector is something by using which the attacker is exploiting this vulnerability. Let's say secure user mapping, obviously it will comes in Docker file. Okay, let's say this one. Okay, so it it will basically comes from Docker container, right? Like whatever the logs is there, so it is different. I mean here Docker file is the attack vector, and here Docker vector is the attack vector. And here if you see resource protection immutable, yeah, if you see the image integrity, here Docker image, like not a image file or container or anything, Docker image, Docker file or something like that. In Docker file there will be a base image, we are using that, right? So here the Docker base image will be the attack vector. Okay, but different it has a different attack vectors, and I think so you got certain idea on this. And yeah, if you want more information, definitely you can go through this, and I will provide the link in the description also. By that it will be makes easy to go through this, and especially if you are in a security domain or else some DevSecOps, then especially it is very much helpful. Okay, and it is your duty to understand and work on this security, like vulnerabilities identifying part, vulnerability triage part, and how the attacker think, and how you need to be ahead of attacker. Okay, obviously if you are a like DevSecOps professional, you need to be more like more conscious than attacker, right? So in that case, how you need to secure your container or Docker image, how you need to uh, stand against the OWASP Docker top 10. Okay, so yeah, it's a continuous learning, and happy learning, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.